Just gonna check the last one.
Hold it!
You asked for the help of the famous detective Herlock Sholmes to locate the defendant, I believe. Stuff and nonsense. Sorry? That jack in office, that busybody, just comes and sticks in his oar in whether we ask him to or not. But according to what I have here, I have several papers where I just wrote down, Mr. Sholmes helped. Was shown to the scene by Scotland Yard detectives. Well, that was nothing to do with me. The lads at the scene must have done it, without my permission. Ag! Tell him time and again, whenever something happens, send word to headquarters. And follow your booming instructions. I see. If that meddler gets his hands on any details, we'll all be reading it in Rance magazine next month. You can bet your last farthing that'll be in there too, and your last 5 pence. Stripped of all my hard work on the case. Yes, Mr. Sholmes. No, Mr. Sholmes. Aren't you clever, Mr. Sholmes? That's all the thanks I'll be getting. Inspector, if the man is proving detrimental to the yard's activities, perhaps I should step in and deal with him. Arg! Oh my gosh. Your chips. There they go. Let the chips fall where they may, apparently. Arg! It appears Inspector Gregson is lost for words. Yes, the Reaper's words carry a lot of weight, obviously. Anyway, the point is this. That little Japanese bloke's already admitted it. He's admitted that those books all over the pavement at the scene were the ones he bought that day. He has a chip on his shoulder. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? If you're unable to sway the jury during this cross-examination, I'm afraid that Mr. Natsume's fate will be sealed. Yes, they're sure to find him guilty. So one way or another, I have to expose an undeniable inconsistency in the inspector's testimony. Guest voice appearance by Christopher Walken. So the shop is called Bourbon Books, is it? See, again, there's that Phoenix Wright meta. When the first thing he says is, oh, so the testimony that you just gave is your testimony? That guarantees it. I mean, I already knew, but it's the closest secondhand bookshop to the accused's lodgings. Yes, it does have a jury, and the Sir Topham Hatt guy, not the one with the ill-fitting hat, the other guy who was on top of the omnibus, he's the head juror this time. To get back there from his room, he would have had gone right past the very spot where the incident took place, of course. If I could just confirm one point, can we be sure that the defendant really did visit Bourbon Books on the day in question? Well, we haven't actually confirmed it, no. You haven't confirmed it? Why the devil not, Inspector? Well, the thing is, the shopkeeper's gone on a trip, you see. Left the morning after the incident to collect more stock, I'm told. So we, haven't been able to ask the bloke if the accused visited his shop on the day in question or not. Well, in that case, what did the defendant himself have to say about it? No recollection. What? No, there is not a character named Topham Hatt. I think his name is Bruce. No, I don't know what his name is. I made that up. Wait, who is Sir Topham Hatt? What's that from? Mr. Rogers? Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood? Oh, no, wait, that's a real... Oh, it's not... No, it's the Thomas the Tank Engine. I was close. It's close to Mr. Rogers. According to the state... Okay, yeah. The accused has no recollection of where he had been. Of course he doesn't. The bloke clearly has his head in the clouds whenever he's walking about town. Claims he just wanders into whatever bookshop he happens to be passing and rarely notices the name. I should say the man ought to learn to look where he's going at the very least. So, it's just as I thought. It's Naruhodo. Is something the matter? Inspector, you may continue with your testimony. Why not? Too many windows? Too many windows? Couldn't afford it? See how it is. Receipt.
Objection.
If I could just stop you there, Inspector Gregson. What is it, Sunshine? I'm a busy man, you know. This is a receipt that we found in Mr. Natsume's room. Just a very different show, I guess, without the... I'm pretty sure I've never actually seen any Thomas the Tank Engine. It was issued on the day of the incident and details the purchase of 3 second-hand books. And you found that in the accused's room, did you? Yes. But the point is not where the receipt was found, but the name of the shop printed on it. Go on. This receipt was issued from a bookshop called Your Books. Your Books? Y-O-R-E, I presume? Yes, my lord. So Mr. Natsume did indeed purchase a number of books at a second-hand bookshop that day. However, the bookshop in question was not Bourbon Books. Eh? What? Inspector, do you know of this other bookshop? Yes, sir. Your Books is another second-hand bookshop, not far from Bourbon Books. It's just that... Well, it's such a small place, I didn't think the accused would have known about it. Clearly. But the fact is that the bookshop which the defendant visited on the... But in fact, that is the bookshop the defendant visited on the day in question. And this receipt proves it. Yes, for what difference it makes. Wherever the man purchased these musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis. This jury is awfully fire shy. I would have thought we would have had 4 or 5 fireballs on the left bucket already. I disagree. I mean, after all, I have the street map here, if that might be of help. Yes, Falcon Fank. Have a look at this, please. If the defendant had been returning from Bourbon Books, then yes, he would almost certainly have passed the place when Miss Green was attacked. However, if we take into account the fact he was actually at another bookshop, Your Books, it may very well have turned out that he wouldn't have passed that location at all. Could that be true? My, it rather depends on where this other bookshop is, but I do declare it may be a possibility. Is that right, Mr. Lawyer, sir? What you just said? Absolutely. It absolutely could be right. Inspector Gregson, where is this Your Books establishment? Well, obviously we looked into that. It turns out that Your Books is just here on the next corner of Meersham Street, going east. It occurs to me how pointless it was for us to argue this, because the defendant admits that he saw the woman and even was right next to her when she got stabbed. So for us to, had this been down south, for us to say like, oh, well, he didn't even run into her. It's like, no, he did. We know he did. He said he did. And there you have it, as you can clearly see now. Oh. My learned Nipponese friend is obviously in training to be a clown, the way he regales us with such witticisms. To your future career in the circus. With this as a snuffleupagus trainer. You put that glass down now, or I'll put it down for you. I didn't think I needed to spell it out, but here we go. If the accused was coming home from your books instead of Bourbon books, there's no doubt he still would have passed the place where the victim was stabbed. Yes, thank you, Inspector. Ugh. He could have, I guess. He was only holding 3 books, though, and he dropped all 3 of them. Allow me to reiterate for my learned, if somewhat slow, Nipponese friend. Wherever the man purchased these musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis. Ugh! As I suspected, you can't fool me, and I don't suggest you try. What did I say, huh? I've had enough of this now. Beg your pardon? Terribly sorry, but would you mind repeating that? Mr. Naruhodo, we mustn't give up. What do you mean? If the prosecution's assertion is correct, the members of the jury may well decide that Mr. Natsume is guilty. Ah, she's absolutely right. We must think, we must consider the assertion just put forward by the prosecution very, very carefully. They claim Soseki-san must have passed the location of the incident on his way. Like... It seems silly for us to say, oh, he could have taken the other route, because why are we... Why are we... What is our plan? The assertion just made by the prosecution is fundamentally flawed. Explain yourself, counsel. Yes, my lord. You can see what I mean on this map. When returning from your books to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume could have followed the route suggested by the prosecution. However, that isn't the only conceivable route to take between the 2 places. If the defendant used these streets, look what happens. He arrives back at his lodgings without passing the location where he saw the victim being attacked. Objection. From behind. Like, talking back to a clown is a fool's errand, of course. However, I feel compelled to point out that that route is what is commonly referred to as the long way around. Ah. On a cold winter's night, why would any man choose to take a longer route home? Well, the answer is extremely simple. He wouldn't, in other words. The accused took the obvious route back to his lodgings and is the obvious perpetrator of this crime. Maybe the short route is known for violent attacks. There could be hooligans. There could be the infamous London hooligans along that route. Yes, I've got it. Obviously, we must ask the man himself. Ask Mr. Natsume which route he took home. I have already informed the court of the accused's response to such questioning. He claims he has no recollection. The hooligan tax is too high. That's right. As I said, the bloke seems to spend his time outside wandering aimlessly from A to B. That day was no exception. He says he doesn't remember where he was or which route he took home. I don't believe this. I thank you, my learned friend, and suggest that we do not waste any more of the court's time by wandering aimlessly around this subject. Pray, what say you insightful jurors? But even if that is the case, the defense still... I agree with Lord Van Zeeks. wholeheartedly and in every way. What? I don't believe it. Does this mean? We members of the jury are completely convinced now. Oh, it's okay. We're gonna... I declare a legal thingy. A mistrial? Yeah, that's it. Very well. In that case, I hereby call upon all members of the jury to present your fireballs to the court.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Oh, no, that's not the... No, the line from The Simpsons is, I declare a bad court thingy. Right? That's the line. A bad court thingy. It would appear the jury's leaning is unanimous. To the insightful members of the jury, I applaud your brave resolve. You serve Queen and country admirably. Mr. Naruhodo. No, not yet. This isn't over yet. I still have one chance to sway the opinion of the jury. I have to tip the balance of those scales the other way. I have to turn this around, somehow. Those are the eyes of Quarry, not yet willing to give up and die. So I presume you intend to wield your rights again in this trial. Rights of defense, written into antiquated British law that should have been buried long ago. Not with the burial tax as high as it is. He banged the gavel, but as we learned in the last court, once the jury has decided that he's like, once all 6 jury members have said guilty, that there's an antiquated British law that says the defense can ask the jury to explain their reasoning, and that as they are doing that, if enough of the jury members change their mind, then the trial continues. Call it antiquated if you will, but it's the defense's prerogative to carry out a summation examination if it so chooses. Very well, counsel. In accordance with the letter of the law, we shall proceed with a summation examination. Are the members of the jury ready, Mr. Foreman? Of course we're ready. I'm all too familiar with that Nipponese whippersnapper and his uncus refusal to throw in his freaking what? We don't have the other guy here to translate. Very well then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty. So the way it works is each of them says their reasoning, and we can't present any more evidence or ask for, like, we can't press, we can't present anything, but we can take 2 of the jury members' statements and say that they are contradictory. For pity's sake, that little Nipponese oddity already admitted it himself, didn't he? He said that a woman in green collapsed before his eyes. Why, it can only have been the victim. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, not in winter. So the poor woman was attacked from behind, was she? How dreadful. Oh wait, is she... Let's look at the picture. No, okay, she looks green from behind. I don't get it. I really don't care. Can't we just wrap this up now? I've got work to be doing. Your books, yes. Nice shop, that. But Bourbon books? No, not worth a visit. With only minor exceptions, the reasons for finding the... The guy who's like, I like one bookshop better than the other one. Well, you make a good point. Guilty. When the stabbing occurred, only two people at the scene were the victim and the accused. And the accused himself has admitted to seeing the victim in her green overcoat sink to the ground before his eyes. Furthermore, we have heard from the inspector that the defendant then fled the scene. I must say, I would have ample grounds to convict this man already. Oh dear, even the judge appears convinced of Mr. Natsume's guilt now. Why did he have to run away like that? And how are we supposed to believe in some phantom attacker that nobody could see? This is impossible. How can I possibly make a case for the defense? Mr. Naruhodo, this is no time for grumbling. If we want to force the trial to continue... Yes, I know. I have to Gyakuten Kurikaisu. I must make the jurors change their mind. Well, 4 of them at least. Exactly. We have no choice but to forge forward. You have the floor, counsel. Begin your summation examination. Yes, my lord. Just need to keep this trial going somehow, whatever it takes. Come on, Ryunosuke, you can do it. Or am I allowed to press? How does this work exactly? Okay, okay, so you can press, but the only way to actually do this is to pit one person against the other. Alright, so this woman in green thing is going to somehow be... You're right that at the time of the incident, the defendant admits to having seen someone wearing a green overcoat walking ahead of him. Well, quite. That's precisely my point. Clearly that someone wearing green was the victim. And clearly that funny little Nipponese man with the disturbing mustache is the culprit. But let us not forget, madam, the defendant vehemently denies attacking the woman. Why, of course he does. If he admits to stabbing her, his life is over. The man is obviously a liver-faced coward, honestly claiming the woman simply collapsed before his eyes. But if that's a lie, as you're suggesting, do you not think he would have concocted something more credible? Oh, I really couldn't say. After all, you are foreign. Who's to say what goes through your funny little mind? It's starting to be weird just how anti-Japanese the British are in this game. This must have been how the original game was written, though, right? They wouldn't have localized it and put this level of racism in. Like, the point of this must have been, look, here we go to Britain, where everyone hates the Japanese. I can tell you what's going through my funny little mind right now, but you wouldn't like it. I do declare the man has already made the admission. He himself has stated that there was nobody else around. Surely the conclusion is obvious. No one else could possibly have committed this awful crime. Ugh. If no one else could have done it, the accused must be the man. Really, it couldn't be more simple. The argument is compelling in its simplicity, I must admit. Oh my, you are too kind, my lord. That went well. For her. I feel like I'm really missing something. Oh, you know what? I haven't... Oh no, this doesn't let you do anything. I can't find anything. Oh. Look here, Mr. Naruhodo, just at the tip, a small piece of the blade appears to be missing. Right, well spotted, Miss Susato. I wonder what could have happened to it. Yes! Falcon stab! You don't think it could still be lodged in the victim, do you? Oh dear, I do hope not. That sounds terribly painful. Whatever is the matter, young man? You're the wife of Mr. Garradeb, aren't you? The landlord who rents Mr. Natsume his room. The master's wife? Where do you get your idea, sir? I'm the maid. The maid, you understand? Oh, she's keeping up that charade. Ah, this is gonna be awkward. Why didn't you mention this yesterday? That you'd been selected for jury in this trial, I mean. Also, why don't we get to voir dire the witnesses and be like, this person has a very clear, close association to the defendant? Well, I was told not to mention it to anyone until the day of the trial, you see. It was in the letter I received. The instructions were very clear, so I'm afraid I had no choice. I see. Anyway, Mr. Natsume, the defendant, takes lodgings in your master's house, doesn't he? Yes, that's right. Although he's only been in a little over a week now. And in that time, surely you must have taken stock of his character. Does Mr. Natsume look like the kind of man who would commit a crime such as this? Oh my goodness me, yes. He's just the sort. What? Spending all his time in that dark and dingy room, sporting that unscrupulous mustache. The man never speaks, and don't get me started on those shifty eyes. All the neighbors are talking about him. I've heard them, you know. People think he must be building a bomb in there or something. Oh dear, poor Mr. Natsume. How could people say such things about him? He's just a harmless bookworm. Nothing more. Well, you just called him a worm, so... Anyway, I better be careful about inviting this maid to speak. She said enough damning things already. Alright. A man's life is on the line here, sir. This will take as long as it takes. Don't get clever with me now, son. My life's on the line too, and so is my family's. Ah. The likes of you wouldn't understand, but a laborer like me can't afford to take time off. If I don't work, I don't eat. Neither do the wife and kids. Oh, I see. That must be very hard. I go to the union every morning to find out what needs doing. If you're late and the work's taken, it's tough. This time of year, there's water and gas supply pipes bursting left, right, and sentry. They're after cheap labor to get the roads dug up to fix it. It's a hard slog from dawn till dusk, it is. So you were out digging up the roads on the day of the incident as well, were you? That's right. In fact, if I remember rightly, it was just round the corner from where it all happened, by that old bookshop. Okay, all right. So you do have to, because when we first got the things, I'm like, none of these 6 things really combine to form a contradiction. What? Another coincidence? That's right, Meersham Street it was. Meersham Street. On the map, Mr. Naruto, there are only 3 named streets. Juror number 5, I need you to add that information to your formal statement, please. What's the point in that? Can't we just get this business over with now? Please, sir, it's important. Fine, I'll do it. Savine jebaited into not being able to sleep. Is it? Seafoam Street. Meerschaum. I said it wrong. Alright, so what's he got to say about bourbon books? Sorry, fold it, you say? Fold what? No, what I said was hold it. What I wanted to ask was, do you visit your books often? I like the old books they have in there, yes. I enjoy reading them over a nice cup of old tea. What? Why not make some new tea? That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about. What time did you visit your books on the day in question? Well, I was picking out books in there all afternoon, and it would have been just before 5 that I left. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about. Just before 5, you say. Exactly when the victim was attacked. You sure about the time? Oh yes, no mistake there. I remember it well. I'm not about to forget that day in a hurry, not after the dreadful time I had. What do you mean? Well, I was walking down Calabash Road when I slipped on the ice and dunked my head. It's always worse after the snow stopped falling. That's when it's most slippery. Knocked myself clean out, I did. I really thought my number was up. Wait a minute, let me get this straight. This happened on Calabash Road? That's right, I live in Cornpipe, you see. Heading down Calabash Road is the quickest way for me to get back from your books. Juror number 6, I must insist that you add that information to your formal statement. It may well be extremely significant. Awoke up after 4 hours sleeping. Decided to take some drugs that help with sleeping. They don't help with falling asleep, only staying asleep. Sorry, extremely sick? Oh no, I'm quite alright now. Sends a shiver down my spine to hear the members of the jury so convinced of Mr. Natsume's guilt. But I can't help feeling that some of their opinions are rather subjective. I agree. It's the irrelevance of what some of them are saying that sends a shiver down my spine. Still, at least some of their assertions don't actually incriminate Mr. Natsume of anything. That's something. We must use that to our advantage, Mr. Naruhodo, cunningly. Yes, you're right. Let's listen to the jurors again, carefully. And if any of their assertions are at odds, I'll pit them mercilessly against each other. Said that a woman in green collapsed before his eyes. So we could pit that against this? Because she's saying it could only have been the victim, but it could have been him. I guess.
Objection!
Those two statements clearly show a flaw in the juror's reasoning. A flaw? What are you talking about, counsel? Well, juror number 2? Juror number 6? My, whatever do you mean, sir? Fight, fight, fight! I think perhaps the old man didn't hear you. Unbelievable. It's not like I was loud or anything. There is at least one fact of which we can be sure here. The bookshop receipt found in the defendant's room clearly indicates that on the day of the attack, he had been to Your Books and purchased a number of second-hand titles. He then returned home on foot. But the man says he has no recollection of his return journey. That's correct. But what he does remember is seeing someone appear in front of him on the way. Someone in a green overcoat who suddenly collapsed on the pavement before his eyes. Yes, we're well aware of this. The poor young woman who was stabbed, obviously.
Objection!
Can we really be sure of that, madam? My, whatever do you mean? I'm sure you heard juror number 6's account of what happened to him that day. That same afternoon, there was somebody else apart from the victim who was wearing a green overcoat and who fell over on the icy streets in the neighborhood. Oh my! My goodness, you mean... That's right. I'm referring, of course, to hard of hearing juror number 6. Are you really suggesting that the person in the green overcoat whom the defendant saw collapse in front of his eyes was the jolly old gentleman at the end of the bench here with me today? Oh, yes. Oh, we carry plenty of weapons. We're carrying a sword, and Dracula throws wine glasses and even wine bottles. That is entirely possible, yes. After all, the old man has a somewhat similar build to the victim. Oh, look at that. My goodness me. Huh? Sorry, you need a pee? And crucially, we know precisely where the old man in the green overcoat fell. On Calabash Road. Therefore, if the person who saw Mr. Natsume collapsing in front of him was in fact juror number 6, it means the defendant must have taken the long route back to his lodgings. And if that's true, then clearly the crime scene on Briar Road, where the woman was stabbed, was not on his way home. Oh my! No, he referred to it as wine very clearly. It was grape juice in Apollo Justice. You idiot old man. If you hadn't been so daft as to be roaming out there, we'd have boxed this off hours ago. And really, what were you thinking, wearing such a befuddling coat? What did you say to me? Is it a crime for the elderly to walk the streets these days? Huh? Is it a crime to slip over on the ice? Is it a crime to keep up with the latest styles and wear a beautiful green overcoat? Is it? My lord, I do hope it won't cause any inconvenience, but... You'd like to change your leaning, I presume? I do declare that I would. I should like to call for a verdict of not guilty. Thank you. And I would too. What? Is it a crime to change it? Well done, Mr. Naruhodo. That was wonderful. We managed to change a couple of minds at least. It strengthened our position somewhat. Yes, and it will prompt the other members of the jury to reconsider their stance as well. They'll be asking themselves if their current leanings are really right or not. Now, if we could just identify one more clue or discrepancy that would make them stop doubting Mr. Natsume, we might be able to tip the balance completely. That's exactly what we've got to do. Van Zieks is looking to bring this trial to an early conclusion. That's what we have to prevent. By whatever means we have at our disposal. Thank you, Counsel. On with the summation and examination, please. Yes, my lord. So, he said he was digging off Meerschaum Street. This is probably going to matter.
Hold it!
Alright, to catch you later, Savine. You can't deny that there are other routes Mr. Natsume could have taken back from your books. Oh yes, like you drew on the map, you mean. What was it? Calabash Road or something? Precisely. But it seems to me what counts is whether the little Japanese fellow actually went that way or not. Well, yes, it's true. And at the moment, there's no proof that shows he did, is there? Yes, that's true as well. And as I understand it, the accused himself doesn't remember which way he went, does he? Well, yes, that's annoyingly true. Winter nights are cold and dark, so the way I see it, you'd want to get home as quickly as possible. Well, yes. Why is all this true? So really, the only thing that makes sense is that he went home along Briar Road. I'm supposed to be convincing you here. I've given it a lot of thought, you know. I didn't just make up my mind on a whim that he did it. On a whim. I mean, if there was some logical reason why he might have gone the Calabash Road way, it'd be different. I'd be happy to reconsider my position in that case. Honest, I would. The reason why Soseki-san might have taken the longer way home. Yes, a good reason. I don't imagine you'll be able to sway this young man's opinion without one. Do I have to press on this statement now that it's changed?
Hold it!
I didn't even think of that. So if I understand correctly, you're a day laborer, and you were doing road maintenance that day? That's right. Like I said, you get a lot of burst gas and water pipes underground in the middle of winter. It's the only time of year fellows like me can actually make a few bob. And I'm missing out today. And when you say from dawn till dusk, the work has to be completed within the day, you see. No coaches or pedestrians can pass while it's happening. I wonder if I could trouble you, sir, to mark on this street map the exact location of the works you are carrying out. Give it here, then. Let me take a look. Here we are, Meerschaum Street. Yes, it was just here, like. It was a tidy dig, I can tell you. We had to get through all the drifts of snow that had frozen solid. It took a whole party of adventurers to defeat the snow. And at what sort of time did you finish the work? Well, we started in the morning. We can't have finished before gone 6, I'd say. The snow had stopped coming down, but it was long past dark for sure. Yeah, if he's doing Mirrorstrom, he couldn't have walked by there. He must have gone. That means the road work was still going on when Miss Green was attacked at around 5 o'clock. Road works on Mearsham Street, huh? So now we can pit those two against each other.
Objection!
Those two statements are clearly at odds with one another. At odds, counsel? Explain yourself. Please don't point. It wasn't me, I swear. What? I just want to get this done and dusted. Well, juror number 3? Oh, me, sir? What do you mean? Juror number 5's words just now were extremely significant. Let's take a moment to consider the implications of what's been said on our map of the local area. On the day in question, Mr. Natsume visited this bookshop to purchase a number of second-hand books, and on the same day, we now know that there were works being carried out on Mearsham Street, making it impassable. Which means that the defendant's route home could not have taken him along Mearsham Street and down Briar Road. Oh yes, of course. Wait, what do you think, sir? Well, yes, you can't argue with that, really, can you? You must have had a good 2 yards or more of the pavement up. Every gentleman and gentlewoman that came along had to turn back and go the other way. So, the only conclusion is this. The defendant must have taken the longer route back to his lodgings. Yes, I suppose he must have. I suppose that must be right. Hey. Juror number 3, you said the following. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, but we see now that he had no choice. Yeah, that he's just gonna, like, draw the sword. My lord, Mr. Judge, sir, if I may? Yes? I don't think in all good conscience that I can say the man's guilty now. Yes, I'd like to see this trial continue so we can get to the bottom of what really happened. What about you, sir? Who, me? Well. Alright then. There's a hole in the prosecution's argument, it should be filled in. That's what I say. Ah. So it's like, why would he change his mind if he just wants the trial to be over? Because he has a digger's work ethic and needs holes to be filled in. Well, that summation examination is concluded with a rather large shift in opinion. The ayes, 2, the noes, 4. So the noes have it, not guilty, they say. Which means we no longer have a consensus among the members of the jury. Yeah, the seat backs change to black when they say guilty and white when they say not guilty.
Objection!
The trial will continue. Again. Could it seem churlish of me to drink from my hollowed chalice moments after raising an objection? Only to crush it in disgust. Pray, forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zieks? It seems I must retract my earlier remark. What do you mean? I mistakenly credited these jurors with intelligence by describing them as insightful. Yet we have just witnessed them falling for a cheap trick performed by an Eastern entertainer. Huh? Whatever do you mean?
Objection!
I haven't tricked anyone. Everything I've said is the truth. Indeed, stalwart juror number 5. was undoubtedly repairing the road as he claims. I believe you said it was a good 2 yards of the pavement which you had excavated, sir. That's right. Took me the whole day, and they paid me a measly 2pence for it. That's not a lot. That's not a lot at all. Don't you get more than that for being on a jury? Do they pay people for jury duty? They do over here. You get, I think it's $80 a day, or something like that. Now, my learned Nipponese friend, tell me. Although I guess that would vary between jurisdictions. At least here, I think it's $80 a day. Do you have any notion of the distance that 2 yards represents? We probably pay because Britain refused hundreds of. They paid you, but it was equal to the jury tax, so you just had to pay it right back. Well, if I'm honest, I don't have a clue. No. 2 yards is a little less than 2 meters. Metries. Less than 2 metries? That's not much at all. In other words, a distance readily vaulted by anyone of moderate vigor. Would you not agree, my stalwart friend? Eh? Me? Well, I can't say you're wrong, no. What? And did you perchance erect a sign to prevent pedestrians from passing the site of your works? I wouldn't dream of it. What a waste of time. No coaches would have had a hope of passing anyway. We just turn any gentlefolk back when they come. Kids just jump right over us all the time. The accused is no gentleman as far as I can see. I have little doubt, however, that he could spring over a 2-yard trench in his meanderings around town. I suppose. £70 plus travel. I don't think we get paid for travel. Oh, also, your work at most places would reimburse you, like, for the time that you up to a limit, maybe. Now that I think about it, some. Is it everywhere? Is it mandatory? It's been a while. I don't remember. Oh, me looking, but no, I was trying to visualize jumping over a 6-foot pit. Is that true? Is it? The incontrovertible truth is that the books just purchased by the accused were found at the scene. There can be no doubt that on his way back to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume walked down Briar Road. Ugh, crushed in a single sentence. And old man. Cold man, you can talk? You say that at around 5 o'clock on the day in question you slipped and fell on Calabash Road. Pray, was there a suspicious-looking Nipponese behind you at the time? Yeah, probably the same here, too. Yeah, who sees a 2-meter gap and says, I'm gonna jump that? Can't say as I remember. You don't remember? How about a wager, my learned friend? You say it was this old man that the accused saw, but I would lay 1,000 to 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're just here all day as he counts to 1,000. Against you being able to prove it. Arg! So they've been saying it constantly. Nippon is the Japanese word for Japan. I don't think the word Nipponese is in use anywhere, but they've been saying it constantly in this localization. Order, Lord Van Zeeks, explain yourself. My lord, if you had such a trenchant argument? Never seen that word in my life. If you had such a trenchant argument up your sleeve, why in the world did you not proffer it during the summation examination? especially in Britain. Yeah. So hold on, hang on. Am I mixing things up? Nihon and Nippon are two different ways of saying the same thing. Nihon is actually the... I don't know why I said Nippon, but is it the... Maybe that's the adjective form. I make up facts. Welcome to my stream. I wanted to give this young foreign student the sightseeing experience he no doubt came for. I wanted him to see for himself how the opinion of the jury is so readily swayed. Trenchant. Vigorous or incisive in expression or style, the white paper makes trenchant criticisms of health authorities. Yeah, Nipponichi is a way to say either Japan is number one or the best in Japan or something like that. Also an actual business. It's like, it sounds like a slur the way that they keep using it, especially because it sort of was in America, at least during World War II, to use the shortened version of that as a slur against Japanese people. But my hospitality has its limits, and they have been reached, I feel. So, my learned friend, today's sightseeing tour of London is now over. What are you talking about? My lord, the prosecution requests permission to call its next witnesses to the stand. Granted. Bailiff, bring forth the witnesses. Its next witnesses? Mr. Naruhodo, do you not remember? We've been told on several occasions that there were eyewitnesses to the incident. Yes, I remember, one of them being a Scotland Yard policeman, no less. I'm afraid that's likely to be the prosecution's next witness. Alright, no matter who Van Zieks brings to the stand as his witnesses, and no matter what they say, I believe in Soseki-san. I know he's innocent, and I'll keep believing to the very end, until this battle is over. As it is 9 o'clock right now, this is a fine time to halt. Resuming on Saturday? Seems like a good idea. Either that or immediately play some more monsters. Well, no. On Saturday, a lot of times people don't really stop by as much on Saturday. I don't want anyone missing Monsters Expedition if that's what they're here for. So we'll continue playing this on Saturday. Probably go back to, maybe we'll just have Tuesday always be Monster Day. Puzzle Monster. Alright, so that is it for tonight. Thank you, everybody. No stream tomorrow. More of this on Saturday and Monday. Monsters Expedition on Tuesday. And also, after I finish one of these 2 games... Oh, there's gonna be... No. This is gonna take a while, because even after we finish all of these cases, there's going to be the whole second game that's included in Chronicles. So, after we finish Monsters Expedition, we will replace it with the game that I've been stalling because I was trying to think of the name, but I don't remember what it is. But it's in my profile description now, because I added it. Good night.